Welcome to This Week in Guns, a podcast that covers a commentary on the latest firearms industry news, information, and buzz. Brought to you by the Firearms Radio Network. I'm your host, Chick Challen, president of the Firearms Radio Network, and you make this show possible. That's right, you simply click through our Amazon affiliate link the next time you're shopping online, and a small portion of your sales goes supporting pro-gun shows like This Week in Guns. We have a great set of panelists this week. We have Ebbs returning from House of Guns and House of Arms. Hey, Ebbs.
Hey, Jake. I'm wearing a Superman shirt.
That's good to know for the audio listeners. Thank you. And we have Josh Cast of Four Guys Guns. Hey, Josh.
Hey, Jake. Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
And we have Adam Kraut, Firearms Industry Consulting Group and Prince Law Offices. Hey, Adam.
Hey, Jake. Thanks for having me.
All right. Well, as I said last week, we launched a new patch company, Patriot Patch Company. Check out, we have a Huckleberry patch pre-order for a limited time. Go to patriotpatch.co to check that out, especially if you're a fan of the movie Tombstone. So let's get into the top stories this week. Celebrities and the usual suspects wore orange for gun control. Did anyone else?
So apparently the New York Mets did. Big surprise there.
Isn't orange the color of jumpsuits?
Yeah, lots of felons wore that day. They all clearly support.
I didn't even think about that.
Bunch of guys with serial numbers, and they're not in the military.
Yeah. That's
So this was what Moms Demand Action put this on, where everyone was going to wear orange to show their solidarity against gun violence and guns in general.
I don't buy the Mets. I'm not gonna lie. I don't buy it.
About what?
The New York Mets. They have the whole New York Mets team, and I bet you anything that at least half these guys own firearms.
Oh, there was a couple guys that got ticked because they were tricked into it because orange is an alternate color for the Mets.
Right.
Yeah.
So they didn't tell them they didn't tell all of them that's what the photograph was for. Like, hey, we're showing support for Moms Demand Action against gun violence, and so a couple of guys were pretty upset afterwards.
Really? Is there an article to go with that?
Yeah, let me hit that. I saw it a couple hours ago.
Because that's just more moms demand attention, tomfoolery, and hijinks.
Oh, you mean flat out lying? There's a new one for them. I find it interesting in the article that I guess it looks like a tweet that all House Democrats are wearing all at House Democrats are hashtag wearing orange because one of America's political parties cares about children being killed. I think that's pretty disingenuous to just put it out there that no other political party cares if children are being killed,
Right.
and to make the further extension that gun owners don't care if children are being killed. That's just asinine.
So here's your story. It's I found it on Deadspin with a quick Google search, and I put it in the show notes, not with the link yet, Jake, but it says Mets pitcher Dylan G says he was tricked into supporting gun control. New York Mets recently posed for the above photo in which they all wore orange to support the Everytown for Gun Safety nonprofit co-founded and supported by Bloomberg. The organization makes no bones about its mission. Bloomberg pictures it as a counterweight to the NRA. Mets star Dylan G, fresh off the disabled list, took part in the team photo but wishes he hadn't. And he shares a Breitbart link, which is telling maybe of which way he's leaning. It says, "This is not why I put on that shirt this day. I in no way support Bloomberg/Morgan or gun control."
I like his follow-up tweet.
Yeah.
So the tweets for those, and you can check it out in the show notes because there looks like there's a link there. Dylan G tweets the Breitbart link, and this is not why I put on that shirt this day. I in no way support Bloomberg/Morgan or gun control. So Mets fan in Philly tweets, "You just like the color orange then? ? So why? ? So confused." And Dylan G responds at Mets fan in Philly, "Was told it was in support of raising awareness for gun violence. I don't support senseless gun violence. That's all." So I guess we're to deduct that he supports gun violence when it's not senseless.
Sensible gun violence.
Yeah,
Self-defense.
and, I mean, there's plenty of gun violence that guess technically is violence that we could lump into sensible.
I'm trying to think of who taught me the term. Because I talked about returning violence at one point. It was a course I was at. Now I can't remember, but he said I like to use the term force to separate the difference between responding to violence with force. And I don't know why I said that just now.
I hate when people use the children argument. That's like my biggest. Because when you say things like that, and I know this might be a bit of like, sledgehammer killing an ant, but a lot of people over history took guns away, in the name of if it saves one child, and I instantly like to direct them to the pile of children's shoes at Auschwitz.
There's also a massive pile of children's shoes outside the Holocaust Museum in Jerusalem. It is terrifying. It's like two stories high, the size of like a pole barn or something. It's huge.
But awful. For the kids, we're doing it to protect the kids.
Yeah.
So, depressing as hell. Let's
moving on. So, Jake, did you want me to segue here?
Speaking of orange.
Well, what you were talking about, with responding with force, I'm okay with saying responding with violence. There's some quotes out there. I was trying to find one here. Here's kind of a quote. The only defense against evil, violent people is. Let me try that again. The only defense against evil, violent people is good people who are more skilled at violence.
I'm okay with that.
So we're going to make an untraceable AR-15 ghost gun in our office. Well, wait, we're not going to do that. Wired.com, the blog, this writer, Andy Greenberg, did this. He says, I made an untraceable AR-15 ghost gun in my office, and it was easy.
That's it. That's a misleading... It's not like you can give an 80%er to a kid and say here, and they could get it drilled out, but you still have to fit parts in it. And so he shows in the video. There's a video that goes along with it that shows this process where he drops the head off of the drill press. The entire chuck falls off, and the whole head comes out, and he's just holding it in his hand. He's like, I don't even know what this is. And so now it was easy when he put it on the the defense. What's the name of the company that makes the mill for 80%ers that you can do?
Well, and he also did the 3D printed route as well.
Yes.
And then he cut himself when he was trying to carve out some excess plastic
with a butter knife.
Right.
he's like chipping away. It looks like a weird like a training thing from Game of Thrones or something, where he's like, here, you if you're going to learn, you're going to learn with this, and they give him a butter knife. He's like, okay, but he obviously doesn't have any sort of any type of pocket knife or anything on him.
So easy that if you have professional cameramen and solid post-production, you too can build it in 4 minutes.
Right. And then turn it over to the police.
So I'm a fairly experienced shooter, and I'm no stranger to whacking crap with a hammer. I'm pretty handy with the tools. I still, to this day, have not even attempted an 80% lower because I know I don't have kind of the patience and or expertise to be working with a drill press to do anything other than put repeatable holes in things. So, I mean, if that's all there is to it, then by all means. But I'm more of a cut 6, measure once kind of guy. So,
well, it's like anything that if you do it a lot of times, you can get really good at it. But there's so many different. I've seen guys do it with a hand drill, like a DeWalt hand drill, and drill it out and then hit it with a file to get the side smoothed out and then in the bottom. But it takes hours, and I've heard of it taking guys like 2 whole days where they're just like one little piece at a time, that's more patience than I have. I'm like, okay, I'll go run the background check and get my lower because I don't have time for this. I just now did it for the first time like a month ago and used the industrial sized drill press and then a router with an end mill bit, and it came out silky smooth. I mean, it looks like it was machined. It turned out so good, but it's not. It requires some skill, and you have to not be caveman. Okay, So if you look at it, you have to look at the whole article, and you can't just read the title and go, "Oh my gosh, this is what's happening," because it's a struggle for him, and he just.
I appreciate Adam Greenberg right now because one of two things happened. One, he said, "You know what? I'm going to get out of my comfort zone and I'm going to go build stuff and use tools and make a firearm, and it's on the topic that's current, and maybe it's going to be something dangerous." And you can see in his face, it's like that dog on the freaking Dylan Aero Precision or whatever freaking chain gun, where he's like, "I have no idea what I'm doing right now." And then when something goes wrong, he has just like the most priceless looks. So that's either option A or option B. The editor said, "Who do we hand this story off to? Who do we put in charge of this? You know who'd be perfect for this? Send Greenberg." And either way, give this guy props.
And they're like, nobody's going to think that a guy that looks like Moby with the giant beard is going to do any damage with this thing. And he even said that he couldn't get on a plane and take it back to New York. So that he didn't just like do them and be like, "Oh, I can't. I have an ethical problem with these. That's why I'm turning them over to the police." Like he said he couldn't, wherever he was going, he couldn't travel with them. So he just got rid of it.
Dude, give it up for Adam Greenberg. He looks like the fisherman, like a long lineage of fishermen. And this was the son who was like, "I'm going to go right, Dad." But I give him total props for giving it the old college try. I don't think he did it a disservice. I think, like you said, the title was misleading, but who knows the process. Maybe it's his editors. Maybe they said, "This is never going to fly. I made a ghost gun." No, maybe it's, "I made an untraceable, and it was easy." Like, who knows?
What's the name of the guys, the area that they're from The Perfect Storm? Or is it
Gloucester? Gloucester.
Yeah, wicked good try, kid from Gloucester. That's immediately what
wicked good.
When you said that. Good times.
TSA Security Theater exposed. So this last week, the TSA was kind of outed by the Department of Homeland Security for failing 67 out of 70 tests to find things that were fake explosives, basically, and what, some weapons too, I think, weapons, fake explosives, and other contraband.
So who's surprised?
I don't understand this, honestly. So they tried taking our buddy Clint's solid silver bullion 308 rounds because they said that this resembles ammunition. He fought that and won it. They shut down an entire TSA lane for 4 in-packaging 50 caliber BMG bottle openers for me. So is this one airport? Is this like, did they do like one of those little offshoots like in Podunk, South Carolina or something? Like, I'm wondering how, was it 67 or 65 out of 70?
67 out of 70.
Were they running like James Bond stuff through the scanner? Like, I don't understand.
Because that's, what is that, 95%?
95% rate of failure. How do you do that?
Yeah, or rate of success. Like, it's that opposite, where you're like, okay, any of us here think, okay, I don't want to deal with this. I'm just going to go out of my way to not have anything on me that's going to cause trouble. And so now I'm thinking, well, I wonder what I could get by. I mean, what could I, if I wanted to like really get serious about this and start just getting what I want on the plane, is it that hard? Is it that difficult? And I don't know. I think it's funny, but I'm not entirely surprised. They don't list the airports, do they?
No, and
they don't list the airports. They don't list where they're going. They don't list, like, I would be really interested to see if they have some sort of a grid or layout of the nationalities of the people who are these undercover test agents and things like that, because it's really easy for them just to publish a broad spectrum number and say 67 out of 70 made it through, but they're not actually really telling us anything. Okay?
So you say, are you saying you think these Department of Homeland Security test agents put on some turbans and walk some things through?
I'm not in a position to judge, okay? But I mean, think if you look at me, you feel like I might have killed 2 or 3 people, and so I usually get stopped, Jake. So if we're talking about profiling people, then maybe yes. Are they making it harder for themselves? Or are they making it easier? I want to know. I want to know what they look like. I want to know, did they have some kind of special underwear apparatus, or like what? Or are we talking about like these polymer or like ceramic knives?
I think
The
we're all
Glock 7 knife?
Like, are we talking like getting through with stuff up their butthole?
Oh,
It said taped to
great.
his back.
Well, that's pretty easy.
I mean, I'd be curious to know how many people get stopped that are mocking the TSA
Right.
video. Pick up that can, citizen.
They're
No.
grabbing everyone's boobs and they didn't feel anyone's backs down.
When I left, I'm gonna tell you a quick story. When I left Omaha, I was flying out of Omaha a little bit ago in April, I guess it was, and we're leaving. And I had my daughter with me, and there was a TSA agent there who looked like the stereotypical. Well, I did not trust him to look at him, and we walked through, and he's like, "Oh, hey, I have to do." He picked up a clipboard and like acted like he was really looking at something, checking off. He's like, "I have to do a couple random checks," and so he gives me a whole pat down. My daughter's standing right there next to me. Gives me a whole pat down, and he gives me a little extra cuppage coming up in the little mid region, if you know what I'm talking about, the nether droopy section, and I'm not kidding, man. I've never been violated by another dude. I've been patted down plenty of times by TSA and other situations, and this time I know. And he's standing. I'm 6'3", and he's about 5'10", and I got as close to his face as I could. I said, "I hope you got what you were looking for down there." And I saw a little tear, and then I turned around and I walked away, and I made sure to shake my hips really hard when I left. So,
what happened to you?
I don't even know how to respond to that.
You don't have to.
Can we just go to the next article?
You don't have to.
Well, no one's going to touch the fact that it's DHS talking about TSA. I mean, it's like when 2 drunks get in the car and they decide that the one who's less drunk is going to drive. It almost looks like they're saying, "Listen, if anyone is going to pull this off, it's going to be you. So you go and run the test on me, and then I'll run it on you, and then we'll be good."
And everyone will know we can only fool ourselves. Okay. And then you get to touch that guy with the pretty hair, and we'll go home. Okay, bye. Then that's exactly what happened.
This has just gone from bad to worse.
No, this isn't. This is the best show we've done yet. Jake, come on. Believe.
Jake looks like he's going to cry.
Who's adding into the show notes here?
Jake he's cry laughing. For those of you that are listening, Jake is trying to talk and he can't get words out because he's choking on the TSA story.
So,
see? You just heard it.
so I had to go get this box of Kleenexes, especially because I know I was having Ebbs on this week. So, thank you. So, those old regulations didn't work. Time to try some new rules. So, the Justice Department plans to move forward this year with more than a dozen new gun-related regulations, according to a list of rules the agency has proposed to enact before the end of the Obama administration. So the regulations range from new restrictions on high-powered pistols, whatever those are, and gun storage requirements. So are they going to outlaw John's Deagle? Are they going to outlaw all tiger striped Deagles?
Yay, government.
I don't know, high powered. What is the classification? The pistols that shoot rifle rounds, so
Yeah.
AR-15 pistols, or
I think if you look at the actual regulation, and I could be wrong. I went looking at it the other day, and I looked at so much other stuff between then I don't remember. I think that was more of a clickbait title. If you look at what the actual rule proposed, I don't think it had anything to do with it being high power. I think they were trying to re-amend the definition of a pistol to incorporate language that was from back in the 80s that was left out, and I think they claimed that was by mistake. So I think that high-powered thing, and I could be wrong, so I just want to caveat that I could be wrong. I think the high-powered thing is just kind of a panic, everybody panic, when there's no basis for the panic on it. But I'd have to double-check. I don't know off the top of my head. Other regulations that I know that they're working on, it seems like ATF 41P, they pushed that back till December now, the proposed action date. Doesn't mean that they can't do it before then. And the other one that has a lot of repercussions that nobody's been talking about would have been ATF 51P, which changes the mental health, some of the mental health stuff. And I believe, let me see here. I think they have a link to it in here. Do they?
And a lot of people take that one for granted too, because when you put that sentence up at face value, helps prohibit mentally unstable people or mentally insane people or anything like that from owning guns. When you put that sentence up there at face value, everyone's like, you're a nut if you don't support this. And that's absolutely true. However, there's nothing in place to justify what that definition is when it comes to, because what was it? It was just in New York or something like that, where it's just a matter of a vet goes to see somebody for PTSD, and he reports back to the state, and they come take his guns. He's totally fine walking around holding a job. He's trying to work through problems, but because he went and actually saw somebody to seek help, they yanked all his stuff.
Yeah, so if you look, they do have ATF 51P listed in there. The one that's titled Amended Definition of Adjudicated as Mentally Defective and Committed to a Mental Institute. I know Josh at our firm prepared a comment in opposition to that. And there were so many issues with it, and I'm trying to remember what they are because it's been a while since I looked at that document. But it's just, ATF, I think, in part was exceeding the authority it had, part of it is the phrasing. I mean, adjudicated mental defective. Why would we want that person owning a gun? Well, there's a huge problem, especially the committed to a mental institute. If it's an involuntary commitment, that's a huge problem we have here in Pennsylvania, that people who are 302'd that are involuntarily committed, they lose their ability to own and possess firearms. And there's very little to no due process in the involuntary commitment, which creates a whole bunch of problems because you're depriving somebody of a fundamental constitutional right and not giving them due process.
So, yeah, a lot of this we're going to probably just have to wait and see how quickly they move on it. But there's, more than a dozen different things listed here.
And it looks like, I'm clicking through that pistol one. The comment period ended in 2005, so it looks like it was proposed April 7, 2005. Comment period closed 5/9/2005. And, or is it? I might be mistaken here. Just ignore that. Belay my last.
All right, so we have, we have a companion article. I believe this one is Dems introduce legalization to outlaw all handgun sales and fund gun control research.
Legislation.
So, yeah, they want all guns to be smart guns, blah, blah, blah.
For anyone that's ever fought their smartphone for anything, know that when your life depends on it, that is a very real opportunity with your firearm.
Let's add a brain and more working parts that assuredly won't work when you need them to.
Hey, my smartphone today said no SIM card detected. Please restart when I was in the middle of a phone call.
That's awesome.
So, I mean, this is similar to what happened in California with the micro stamping, though, and they actually passed that law where, now that we have this fantastic micro stamping technology, all guns have to be, equipped with it, and so now most handguns you can't buy in California anymore because of that, and now they're trying to take a version of that, it seems, to the national level.
I got at least 5 or 6 Glock firing pins just hanging out. So, I mean, by all means, send it. Check. Timestamp.
Did you do a timestamp?
I mumbled jackass. Timestamp.
Oh, that's not timestamp.
Oh,
Women
sorry.
are the driving force in nations' shift from gun control to gun rights.
Kind of ironic when you have a crazy woman running Moms Demand Attention, but no, it is something we see in the shop. There's definitely plenty of more women shooters coming in, first-time gun owners, women that are interested in defending themselves in their homes because they're home more often than their husband, and at least in some instances, or they're home at different times, and they want to get guns that they're comfortable with, and I think that's fantastic. We need as many people that are interested in owning guns and willing to learn how to use them safely as we can get.
Anyone who's been in the industry for, like, literally been in the industry for the past 3 to 5 years knows that one of the fastest and largest growing demographics is female shooters. That's why you see so many more subcompacts and 380s coming on the market, not just because Glock made a 42, because the 380 is very popular, and so is the smaller 9s. Rifles. My wife, she was scared to death of my AR, and she got to shoot it once or twice, and she was like, all right, now you got to build me one. And not for nothing, the girl at the top of this article is on point. Look at that. Is that Centurion rail? And she's got battle comp on it and T1. I mean, she's rocking and rolling right there. She looks hot, ladies. Hot. She probably got 3 kids in a soccer practice in 2 hours. That could be you.
So there is an article I didn't put in here about 30 days of the Taurus Curve concealment, about a lady that concealed the new Taurus Curve for 30 days.
Did she have to shoot it during that time?
That's what I wondered.
I want to.
Because I would be that of all the compact guns out there, that trigger pull is the least friendly to small, gentle hands.
I'll put it. It's in the show notes right under this article. It's a guns.com article if anyone wants to check that out. But let's talk about the Range 15 movie that currently on the Indiegogo campaign, which has already surpassed its funding goal. So these are the guys from Ranger Up and AR 15 apparel, and $325,000 goal, and they are currently at $530,000 funded by about 4,300 people. It still has 21 days left. That was done in 24 days. So if you've ever seen Matt Best's on YouTube, same kind of shenanigans, I'm sure, are going to be in this film.
Jake, do you still have the TSA story stuck in your throat?
I do. I'm just someone take this from me, please.
So the Article 15 guys are well known for their ridiculous videos, funny spin on sensible thinking mixed with idiotic behavior and a lot of whiskey and bikini snaps and stuff like that. They basically said, you know what, all the movies depicting military things recently have really sucked. We're going to make one that's going to be basically like our videos, only a movie. That's the impression that I get. And I think they just announced, too, that Marcus Luttrell is going to be in the movie or have an appearance in the movie or something like that.
Marcus Luttrell, yeah, the Navy SEAL survivor from Lone Survivor, right? The book and the movie.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Texas Frog. See how I said that like I knew, like I know SEAL things?
I bet you could have been a SEAL, Ebbs.
Oh, no.
How many rounds can an AK fire before it breaks?
Apparently a good bit.
The top of this page has 30 days worth of 7.62 by 39 steel shot at a range here in Las Vegas. It says 80% of that had been fired by AKs, but it's kind of interesting because it goes through some of the different failure points they see, because they have every AK there to fire except for Cuban, Vietnamese, and North Korean. And they said there's 3 kinds of AKs that have yet to fail, and that being the U.S. Century arms, the Bulgarian, and the Chinese milled receivers.
I think it's interesting that, I mean, they recorded some of the different kind of failures here, and it seems like the cracked trunnion seems to be a fairly popular way for these, temporarily die anyway. Apparently they've yet to shoot out a factory Wasser barrel, but 3 of their C-39 started keyhole and were pulled. It's an interesting, not so scientific, but it's got some interesting tidbits in there as to which ones and what parts are breaking.
Well, any of these that are the trunnions, the barrels, like the keyhole type thing, if these are imported barrels, and same for the trunnions, these are not made with the type of heat treating that our U.S. made, U.S. part AR-15s are, specifically the barrels. And so while they're not shooting around as fast as what you're going to see, a lot of the bimetal jacket Comblock style steel cased ammo is going to be harder on barrels too. But still, like 80 to 100,000 rounds. How many people shoot 80 to 100,000 rounds through any of their guns in a life? Like, what percentage of people on what percentage of guns? It has to be like an infinitesimal amount of 1% or something, right? I mean, that's insane. It's awesome, and that they're just talking about like, all we do is take off the front trunnion and barrel, and then we put a new set in and just rivet it right back, and it's going again. You're talking about a sheet metal, like these are stamped receivers that are not milled. Basically, that's the difference. You have folded sheet metal and then welded rails, just spot welded rails, compared to something that's milled. It comes out of a CNC machine, lathe, basically, blah blah blah, CAD program, all that. That's cut by a machine and it's perfect. This is like as simple as it gets. These are idiot poor people rifles.
50-year-old XM16 still in use in Cambodia. This is a Firearms blog article where someone came across an AR-15 weapon that had been made by General Motors between 1969 and 1971. That was a previous one, but then an even older one, a Colt XM16E, still in use in Cambodia, which was made between the 16th of May 1966 and the second quarter of 67. It was found by Steve Lee, the singing songwriter guy that wrote the song "I Like Guns." I don't know if any of you are familiar with his.
Is it
in Cambodia? Like,
is that a rap or is it like a country song? I don't remember.
He's Australian, so it's kind of
he's Delta ring though.
What is he? Australian?
But yeah, this is a mixture of a bunch of different parts. It says the barrel assembly is clearly an alteration of some sort, and the handguard appears to be a local fabrication. What is clear is the lower XM16E1 markings make the rifle at least 48 years old.
Wow.
So this totally makes me want to build a retro build.
Yeah, Delta ring's not screwing around, huh?
I don't know. There's something neat about about those old style ones that haven't gone to it yet, but it's on my list of ARs to add, and that is a sharp looking. It's used. I wonder if he sent it to get some of that battle worn Cerakote job done or not. But
I'm guessing no.
really, you think? You don't think he shipped it from Cambodia back to
Cambodia, Adam. Cambodia. Have you ever been there?
Maybe he got the spray paint out.
Have you ever been to Cambodia?
I have not.
I
No,
heard there's gun ranges in Cambodia where you can rent like anything, like even rocket launchers.
There was an article, I think, within the last year where somebody did just that. They rented like an anti-tank weapon and blew up something and all kinds of crazy stuff.
I've heard of people renting like rocket launchers and stuff there and blowing up a cow, like buying a live cow and blowing it up.
And then eating it immediately.
Yes, because nothing goes to waste. So we have a recall on some L5 AWM magazines that were shipped with bad followers. Lancer is offering replacements. Link in the show notes in case you have a Lancer mag with a bad follower. And okay, should we get into the Vince Vaughn celebrity pro gun drama going on in the interweb?
Oh, I think you should definitely let Ebbs lead off on this.
Ebbs, take it away.
So here's what you people need to understand. And by you people, I mean, I don't know, the 10 people that listen to this show. It is apparent to me that we, as people, not just in the gun industry, but as people, have this ridiculous double standard for when things do or do not go our way, or our way of classifying people that see things differently from us. For instance, when Susan Sarandon tells us that she's going to wear orange because she is against gun violence, which, by the way, every time I hear the term gun violence, I think of two guns getting pissed at each other and starting to like headbutt each other and like cause damage to the other guns. Because there's no such thing as gun violence. So if you've never heard that before, you need to get that in your head. Gun violence is a false, fabricated term. A gun does not get up and walk around and spit bullets out at people just at will. Okay, there's people violence, and there's anger and evil and poor choices, and that's what we're facing, okay, first of all. Second of all, when somebody stands for a cause like that, we get all pissed, and we're like, oh, stupid celebrities taking their lunch money and complaining this way and that about how bad gun violence is, and they don't know anything, and they're just, you know, they don't want to bite the hand that feeds them because liberals love Hollywood, blah, 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 blah. And we go off and we throw a hissy fit and have a tantrum like we think they would say anything different. And we write them off. We say, well, why would I listen to what a celebrity has to say? They get paid to pretend like they're someone they're not for money, right? But then when someone says something that in our eyes is sensible and speaks well even, like the aforementioned Vince Vaughn, who I hear is Jake's favorite actor, especially in the movie Swingers. When he steps out and says something like, I think people should be able to have guns wherever they want, you know, we immediately lose our minds and like proclaim him as the second coming of Christ because look, a celebrity gets it. A celebrity gets it. And I guess I understand that it's refreshing, and I think that's great. It's nice to hear the other side of the table on occasion from that avenue, from that specific realm of people, right? Because you're not used to hearing that. And you can throw all the arguments at me and say, you know what, he's going to lose money deals because of that. I don't think he made a lot of money anyway. He's not like a super high-paid actor. Kind of funny, but he plays the same character in every single movie anyway, right? Just with different names. And so, yeah, he might get blacklisted. Some people might say, well, we're not going to hire Vince Vaughn anymore. I don't really think he's worried about that. But at the same time, with all of these things considered, isn't he still just an actor? Like, even if he's saying what we agree with, the guy is still just an actor. The same vein of people that we're saying, well, why are we listening to them anyway? They're not exacting any good on society, or they're only doing things to benefit themselves. Why do we have to listen to them? Well, this is the same cult of people. He's just happening to say something that we agree with for once. And I'm just personally tired of seeing it. Almost as tired as men that don't want a penis anymore.
I think the biggest thing with it is the size soapbox that they get. I mean, the reality is they're no different. They have the same rights you and I do. I think people just, for whatever reason, well, the general public puts more stock in what they say than what perhaps you or I or someone else in a similarly situated position does.
Well, and I think the attitude is, which I totally understand. Like I said, I agree with. It's nice to have someone like that on our side for once. I think that's what we feel. That isn't Mel Gibson. Right?
I don't. I don't care. I mean, your job is to entertain me.
Right.
I don't care what you can think whatever you want, but your job is literally to make a movie and make me laugh. And I can either elect to watch your movie and laugh, or I can elect to watch your movie one time, not find you funny, and never watch you again. Whatever the case may be. But it's the same with like singers and musicians. Your stance, I don't understand why people care. Your job is to make music, not tell me about your political views. I don't care.
I just think it's funny that he's not only on our side, but I made air quotes for those of you that are listening and not watching.
You did it again.
I did it again. Curtsy soon. But it's also the fact that he clearly like trolls ARFCOM or something because of the things that he said to a British magazine.
Did he say 87?
No, he did.
Beans
say,
or no beans?
It's the whole spoons make people fat. He said very cliche things, which are like, I think just adorable to see like that level of non-intellect coming out of it. Because those are like the simplest arguments that we ever like throw back at the far left. Vince Vaughn.
Well, if you'd like to support Vince Vaughn and the Firearms Radio Network, you can check out our Amazon affiliate link and buy his movie,
Wedding Crashers.
Wedding Crashers.
What? Nobody. Anchorman, West Mantooth.
No, I'm listing all the bad ones.
What? Dodgeball is a bad one? How dare you?
No.
Segue.
We're going to turn on the thong song and tear this joint apart.
Oh my
Come on,
God.
Jake.
Dodgeball. Are you kidding me, Jake? You need to buy it now if you don't have it already and like watch it.
Apparently he was in 21 Jump Street, the TV series, in 1989.
He was also in one of the Jurassic Park movies.
Really?
Yeah. 2 or 3. I think it was 2.
It was 2.
It was on TV the other day. Is that Vince Vaughn in Jurassic? Yep. Yes, it was.
He was in the Hercules TV series as well.
There's 2 Vince Vaughns. There's regular Vince Vaughn, and then there's the actor that ate Vince Vaughn.
His doppelganger.
So anyways, you can go to firearmsradio.tv/Amazon. We are to the full auto news segment. Stories the real media won't talk about. I made air quotes there on the word real. Another crazy stuff. I cannot talk tonight. Each host picks a story to call their own, and I think Ebbs already picked one of these. So Ebbs, you take it away.
Yeah, I did, and I saw quite a bit of harassment as a result of it. But here is a story from controversialtimes.com about a disabled veteran who is out hanging out in the middle of nowhere, and however, the thing looks awesome. The guy plays it up like he's getting shot at, and then it turns out he's actually not being shot at. It's a lie, and it's fabricated, and it's actually kind of depressing because it sounded awesome. Like he looks like he's got his camera in selfie mode on his cell phone, and he's recording like the middle of a couple guys attempting to steal his truck, and then they're getting shot at, and then they return fire and say that they wounded one of the guys, and apparently none of it ever happened. So it sounded cool, but come to find out, Jake, I'm sorry I claimed it. I feel like after the TSA story, I've really let you down.
I can't believe Weapon Works got behind it either.
Yeah, but they did. It says they owned up to it, saying that they had it wrong.
All right, Josh.
What to do? I'm going to leave the baseball one for either Ebbs or Adam, I think, if anyone's taking that one. I figured Ebbs would be on that one, but my personal favorite, I think, so far is the United States Air Force found and flattened an ISIL base because of selfies. Just playing the music. Just playing it. Because, I mean, that's like the best thing ever. It's like there's somebody, if not multiple somebodies in the U.S. government just trolling Instagram, just trolling Twitter, looking for one of these little nuggets. And it's like, yo, Al-Mahamada just posted a selfie, and he left location tagging on, send it up the chain, and there's a dude up there like a YF-23 or something, just like, Roger, selfie inbound. We win from selfies. So note to self, don't use a selfie stick.
Can't you just
selfies? Like, just don't.
Don't use the selfie stick.
Can't you just picture them naming like the warheads on the front of those bombs, like Duckface and like there's stuff like that. They're just dropping it in and stuff.
I put hashtag selfie on every single smart bomb.
Oh yeah.
But first, let me take a selfie.
All right, Anna, what do you have?
Wow, slim pickings. I'll go with the zero carry concealment holster.
Oh, thank God.
So I don't know how many of you are familiar with the VersaCarry holster. Actually, I got to spend at the Great American Outdoor Show a whole whopping like 6 days across from that stand. The VersaCarry holster is a holster that it covers the trigger, but the way the gun's holstered, it actually puts the best way to describe it is almost like a U shape. So there's a rod that goes into the bore. It sits in there so that it covers the trigger guard, and then it clips onto your belt or something. So, in my opinion, it's a very poor design because you're just putting a bore obstruction in right away. I don't see how that's good.
Bore obstruction.
You're obstructing the bore. Out. Sorry, it's been a long day.
No, wait. I got one of these for review a while back, and I had a buddy in mine did a little video of it, and you can't draw that thing. I mean, once you stick that in the bore, it's like stuck in there. I mean, it's retarded.
Well, we all know you can just shoot it out because the trigger guard on this only covers the one side. If I, from where I was standing, saw that correctly, so just boom, pull the other side. So this is a even more ingenious version of that, where this one has no trigger guard. However, I will give them credit that it does say here, warning. Warning, zero carry is designed to provide the user with a method of in-the-waistband concealed carry that is minimal in design by reducing bulk. Zero carry is not to be used with a firearm holstered in condition 0, 1, or 2, chambered around in the firearm, in parentheses. It is advisable to never touch trigger until ready to shoot, never point firearm at anything you don't intend to shoot. So there's a couple of issues with this. The first being, it is advisable to never touch the trigger until ready to shoot. Well, the point of a good holster, or at least my understanding of it, was that you cover the trigger, so that way nothing inadvertently makes contact with it. Second, you're introducing a whole host of problems because in the United States, unlike other areas of the world, we are allowed to carry with a round in the chamber. And it's advisable that people do so because when things go wrong, they go wrong very quickly. And I don't know how all these people plan on getting their gun into the fight with no round in the chamber. Especially because I'm willing to bet 99% of the people that will buy this holster have absolutely no form of training and will not pay money for any training. And Ebbs is shaking his head no, and then yes, so I think he agrees. So all in all, in my completely unprofessional opinion, I don't really know how I feel about this other than I don't see how it's going to do anybody any good. But I bet you they'll sell a lot of them, especially if they go to things like the Great American Outdoor Show in Harrisburg next year.
Yeah, it's like it looks like a little coat hanger for your gun or something. This thing. I mean, it's like something you can hang your gun up to dry with.
It's terrible. It's just terrible.
Oh, I see. The picture had me confused, but now referencing the other one, okay. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, what's wrong with one of those like Vanguard 2s that Raven Concealment?
Right, and that makes sense.
Where's mine? Yeah, I have one.
But what's the cost of a Vanguard 2 versus?
They're like $30. They're for
this thing $19.99. It's like it's basically the same thing for the first-time shooter, and a lot of people don't realize that just because you're saving $1 doesn't make it a good idea.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like a lot of these people don't understand the safety implications of what they're doing, and maybe they just don't care, or maybe it's just ignorance. But I don't know.
Oh, crazy kids and their drugs. Jake,
Yeah,
what are you choosing?
Well, the closest thing to like a Versacurity or the zero concealment thing that I would even consider would be something like this is by Works Holsters, the Digit, but is that the other one you guys mentioned? Is it like this?
It's similar. Yeah, it's a very similar design. It covers just the trigger like that.
Right.
And theirs has the belt loop on it, so you can use it as in the waistband holster, as well as it does come with the lanyard attachment. And I used mine not too long ago in a bag because I was dressed in a suit and I didn't have a holster appropriate. So with the lanyard loop, so that if I had to pull it out, that would pop off and then business would go. But I mean, I usually use a full-bodied holster, and I mean, quite honestly, these are so thin that it's not. I don't understand the minimalist thing personally, but
do you carry? Is that your carry gun?
It's one of them. Yeah, this is a full-size M&P with an RMR mounted on it.
That's cool.
It's in a Filster holster. In case anybody's wondering, I just like to plug John because John makes awesome holsters, so you should totally get one.
All right. Man claims to be ninja, assaults woman and cops. So a man with some colorful facial tattoos was arrested in Boston over the weekend for assaulting a woman at a public transit station. As officers responded to 30-year-old Jose Estrada, he apparently taken a seat on the bench as if nothing was happening after assaulting the woman. He said, "Are you ready? Are you ready to try and take this expletive ninja?"
What?
The man then raised both his arms in a fighting stance, clenched both of his fists, and bared his teeth while breathing heavily. I bet if this guy moves at all, he's always breathing heavy by the looks of him. But
it's a fantastic picture,
isn't it?
It looks like somebody drew on his face with a Sharpie. He like woke up drunk at a party and thought he was a ninja and went out on the streets to cause havoc.
So yeah, they used pepper spray and subdued him and charged him with indecent assault and battery. Indecent assault and battery. I don't know if I've heard of it phrased that way.
Wasn't that in The Naked Gun when he had like the statue's dong like in his hand? Or was that The Naked Gun 2.5? I can't remember.
It's 2.5. I love how the guy calls himself a ninja in the third person, though, right? Is that how I'm understanding this correctly? It says Estrada, who had apparently taken a seat on the bench as if nothing had happened after assaulting the woman, he said, "Are you ready? Are you ready to try and take on this effing ninja?" Is that what happened? He said that about himself. So if you refer to yourself in the third person as what you want to be, it'll come true. And then he raised.
That's right. He does daily affirmations in the meal.
He bared his teeth because ninjas, when they're wearing their masks, you can always see their teeth through them.
They always bare their teeth.
They always bare their teeth.
I'm closing this tab, Jake.
Apparently, indecent assault is apparently it looks. Hold on, wait. I'm sorry. I saw a Wikipedia one, but I don't want to use that to describe it. Commission of okay, well, we'll go back to the Wikipedia one because that one was easier to just get to. So apparently, according to Wikipedia, and I was trying to get to the code in Massachusetts to see what they define it as, but indecent assault is an offense of aggravated assault in some common law-based jurisdictions. It is characterized as a sex crime and has significant overlap with offenses referred to as sexual assault. So it sounds like, from at least what Wikipedia is saying, and again, I don't know what the Massachusetts statute said, but it sounds like it's a cross between assault and some kind of sexual assault, which is interesting for a ninja because I didn't really expect ninjas would be into that.
So, just because I'm that weird guy, sometimes when I want to mess with my wife, when she takes a nice, really big yawn, I like to just reach over and touch her tongue. Now, that's weird, right? Completely weird. I accept that, but the gratification I get from an instantly, completely boned yawn, like no satisfaction at all, just really makes me smile. So we have this friend, and we'll just call him, Weisenberg and Steen. So the law offices of Weisenberg and Steen, she decided to put this out on social media that I was such a jerk, and here's why I was a jerk. And he said, in the state of New Hampshire, that is assault. So that's why, to me, assault is dumb. Because there are many worse things that deserve the word and phrasing and title of assault than me touching my wife's tongue mid-yawn. Hey, Ebbs gets to rant, so none of you can look at me weird, because I just did a little bit.
I'm trying to look down because I don't feel like I can make eye contact while you're talking about that.
All right. Well, if you love the content of this show and you like to help support it by crowdfunding at Patreon, go to patreon.com/week. You can pledge $1 or $5 per episode. You can also pledge your support for the Firearms Radio Network as a whole at patreon.com/FRN. And don't forget to get your pre-order in for the Patriot Patch Company's Huckleberry Patch. Huckleberry. Not to be confused.
Guys, hey guys, I'm Harry Carey. Don't forget your Huckleberry Patch. You can have a nice cold Budweiser.
And how dare you be looking down on me after your TSA love session?
I haven't.
Huckleberry Finn. Get it, Jake. Get it, Jake.
On that horse. Get on it.
I haven't had anything to drink. Okay.
Might I tell you, this water is delicious right now. It's got some ice bits in it and everything.
Moving on. So that about wraps us up. So, Ebbs, why don't you tell us how everything's going over at the...
It's not. We got good stuff going on. You don't have to be upset. You don't have to cry.
His new hobby includes getting his wedding tackle juggled by overweight TSA.
So, see, we have a lot to be proud of. We are getting into summer months, guys. Get ready for hunting at houseofarms.com. So we're selling the old man guns, starting to see them fly out, and getting ready to launch a YouTube channel for the store called Single Shot Review. And we'll be focusing primarily on guns that we have in stock, CVA and Thompson Center brands, and some different cool stuff you can do with those, venturing out into a little bit different type stuff, even collapsible bust stock pistol grip, some different options from the typical old man style, as well as suppressors and some cool subsonic stuff, and pistol round rifle barrels. So, yeah. Good stuff coming up. Summer's getting busy, and we're having a good time doing it all. Oh, and if you want to follow our media outlet, ours being mine, being me, Ebbs, houseofguns.com, that's Haus. Our Instagram just topped 25,000 today, which is a pretty cool milestone. First of our social media to do that. And so Instagram, House of Guns, Facebook.com/House of Guns, and Twitter at Haus of Guns, and all of that's HAUS of Guns. And this is the only place I talk about TSA assault and groping and inappropriate behavior. So you can steer clear of all of those things.
Lies.
Okay, that was a lie.
I think I'm crying blood now. Is that a good thing?
Like Jesus.
Jesus.
Adam, what's going on with you?
Well, just got admitted to the Eastern District of Pennsylvania in the federal courts today, so now I can practice law in federal court, at least in the Eastern District. So that was cool. What are we doing over at the law firm? Yeah. Tomorrow we have a hearing. I think it's for preliminary injunction against Lower Merion for their unlawful ordinance. We got a response back from the Office of Open Records. I don't remember the last time I was on here. So we submitted right to know requests to Harrisburg and Lancaster asking for the names of donors to their funds that they set up to defend against lawsuits that the NRA brought against them under the 6120 in here. So basically the NRA was suing them because now membership organizations have standing to bring lawsuits, and these cities have ordinances that are not in line with the state's preemption. So we wanted to know who was donating to it, because that kind of may matter. So we ended up actually got a favorable decision in the Harrisburg matter, and we're still waiting for the return of the Lancaster one, which should be within 2 weeks. But Harrisburg, anyway, was ordered to disclose the names of the donors, and I guess they didn't like that, so they appealed to the Court of Common Pleas, and we are going to go get into a fun little tiff over that. So that's kind of where we are with things right now. And anyway, so you can read all about that stuff on blog.prinslaw.com. There's constantly blog posts going up about all the fun things we're dealing with over there. If you're interested in what's going on with me, you can check me out on Instagram. My Instagram is @moose, like the animal. Yeah, I don't know why. Maybe passed from AOL. Anyway, moose00015, and I do not have 25,000 followers, but if somebody wants to help get me there, that's pretty much it.
Very cool. And Whitey, Four Guys Guns. What's
Four
up?
Guys Guns. We're doing big things over here at Four Guys Guns. Big things. So the only real good news that I have aside from status quo is we are finally kind of expanding a little bit when it comes to speed and turnaround. So we got a new editor coming on, and he's going to deliver tomorrow night, allegedly. We'll see how he does. If he does good, then this is a good thing for everyone, because that means Four Guys Guns will be back to not just like one big video review a month, but hopefully we'll be able to bang out 4 to 6. So that's going to put us right back into, the spotlight a lot more when it comes to visibility. And we're also adding writers. I'm sorry if anyone who's listening is actually somebody who applied to be, a writer for Four Guys Guns. We've just been ironing out, the compensation package, so to speak. So anybody who's interested, by all means, send an email to whitey@fourguysguns.com. That's Whitey with an EY. And anybody from hunting to competition shooting, how-tos, easy. We're taking care of everybody who applies. So, well, everybody who has decent content. So no offense if we don't take it, but yeah, check us out, fourguysguns.com, all spelled out. You can also follow us on Instagram, on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook, @4guysguns, all one word. And trying something new tomorrow if the reception holds. I will be doing video review at the range tomorrow, and I will be having a live Periscope session at the same time. So people can actually ask questions that, in between takes, so to speak, I can actually maybe answer them, maybe get some ideas on things that maybe I don't usually cover, and just kind of bring people along in the process. For those that don't know, Periscope is kind of a new thing brought about by Twitter where it's like a one-way stream. I can talk to you, you can text messages to me, which is great because I don't like doing the typey with Twitter, and this way I can be very instantaneous, and you can kind of see the cameras set up, and you can spot check me for safety and things like that. It'll be pretty funny. So let's hope the reception is good up there.
That's awesome. Yeah, very cool. What time are you doing that?
I haven't figured it out yet, but it's probably going to be around noon. I will make an announcement on Facebook in the early to mid-morning as to what time the Periscope session will go live, so we can give plenty of people time to, if they want to, because you can also apparently watch via the web. So, and I will go live as long as, again, I don't want to make a huge announcement to do of it, because if I get up there and I only get like 2 bars at best and it's dropping constantly, it's not going to be much fun for anyone. So I think I'll make an announcement like when I get to the range, and it'll probably take me a little bit to set up like it usually does, and then I'll go live with it if everything's 5x5.
You're not driving the Four Guys Guns mobile satellite van up with you?
Dude, give it time. Give it time.
Well, I guess I have a little blurb here, too. I forgot to mention earlier in the announcements, but the Firearms Radio Network has reached the 6 million download mark. Well,
nice.
Golf clap. Golf clap.
Yeah, pretty cool. Thank you all for making that possible.
You're welcome.
Especially you guys listening to This Week in Guns.
That's right, you.
So you can leave your feedback by commenting on the bottom of this video or at thisweekinguns.com/120. Leave us that iTunes review, and don't forget to use those Brown Owls and Amazon affiliate links. So that about wraps us up. Thank you, Josh.
Jake, don't lie. If you were a hot dog, would you eat yourself? Quit dodging the question, Jake. I'd smother myself in some soup. Mustard go to town.
I know I would. Some
Always a
relish and maybe some mustard. I'd be delicious.
It'd be delicious. Thank you for having me, Jake. Always a pleasure to be here.
And thank you, Adam.
Thanks for having me, Jake. I don't know if I can appear with these two again, though. A little much.
I'm off my meds.
All right. That's a wrap. We'll see you next week.